Yeah, welcome everyone in this new live development video about building an auto battle game. In this video, we're going to continue building up all the assets we need for the ability systems. And if I'm not mistaken, we were doing the passive ability thing. So I think we were working on the triggers themselves. So if I'm checking out trigger, event trigger, and cast ability trigger, these are all things we're gonna set up. So this is not what we want. We want the tech design and we want the trigger. So we're gonna have the enumerator trigger, which is gonna be all the events, all the possible events which can trigger status, passives, status and passive for now. So it's always going to be always on attack, on hit, on attacked, on damage taken. So we're gonna call the other one on damage dealt, on damage taken. Yeah, I think I prefer on deal damage and on take damage. I think I prefer that. On stat update, on ability use, on stat update, on ability use, on targets acquired, on this and combat start. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna put that on the right. On combat start, on range enter and custom trigger. But we're not gonna put custom trigger. We don't need that. So the trigger, the F trigger is composed of a trigger tip, which we've just done, of a watched entity. We're gonna have a bunch of watched entity, which can be owner, target, allied units, enemy units, and any unit. Like this. Watched entity. We need a custom trigger, but I think we've already done that. Yep. Trigger chance, trigger condition. It's gonna be trigger condition is gonna be a condition. Stat trigger, ability trigger, range trigger. We'll see how we build that one. So let's see when we're gonna have the type of trigger. The watched entity. The custom trigger. We're gonna put that above. Watched entity trigger chance. So I'm not sure how we're going to do that for now. Condition. I think we're gonna need to have stats, but I'm not sure. We're just gonna that scares me. Oh yeah, I think they're not loaded. I want objects. I want to reset the filters. I want objects, only objects. Do we have objects here? No, we don't. Maybe blueprint objects, object library. We don't want that. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing this. But in here, we want ability stats. Oh, why is it not cast ability trigger? Why don't we have ability stats here? What's going on? Yep. That scares me a bit because if it fails to load stuff like this, yeah, structure. So if we add an event here, yeah, we don't even have events here. It doesn't know what that is because I think ability event was not compiled. I think there's one way to fix that for now. We're gonna open this up, call this, create a new function, call this force load, and create a bunch of local variables. We want everything related to ability. So ability effect. I'm gonna copy and paste ability. We don't even need that. Ability event. I think it's going to force them ability row, ability scaling, ability stats, targeting, active ability, base, attack ability, cast ability trigger, passive ability, hit compile, hit save, and I think it's going to force them to all be loaded by default. We're going to close and restart the project real quick just to see if it has some kind of impact over what we're doing here. Yep, we want to open them. Oh, yeah, but it's yeah, I should have closed that because by opening them, it surely loads them. We're gonna do another test. I just closed the utility function, our utility function. So I want to open them in the trigger. It seems to be working. So we want ability stats here. And we want the proc chance, the trigger chance here. We're gonna put that to 100 by default. 100 I said by default. What else do we need here? So I said we went to stats. Yeah, condition, we have that. And we have stat trigger, ability trigger, and range trigger. I'm not sure how we're going to set them up for now, but we're going to create them anyway. Maybe they are just custom triggers. Start, ability, and range trigger. Maybe they are just triggers here. Custom ones, I mean. And that way we wouldn't have them in here. Yeah, but in any case, we will need, yeah. We will need to be able to specify some things here, like what ability we are listening to. I think we'll get rid of this for now. We'll just add range here, just in case we add a range trigger, it's going to use that stat. So we have our type of trigger, we have our watched entity. Yo, it didn't load that one. So we're gonna open utils once more. And all our enumerator, where are they? Okay, they're here. E-ability, effects, stats. What else do we have? I want all enums here. Targeting we have. Direction, filter, method, origin. What else do we have? Trigger, e-trigger, e-trigger. Oh yeah, why not consumption rules as well? Watched entity. Oh, he didn't like it. I think we crashed. Yeah, we crashed. Yeah, so there is definitely something wrong with all the stuff we created. I mean, it's not wrong, it's just the engine doesn't like nested structure. If we were doing this in C++, there would be no problems. So we lost the reference to all our enums, but it doesn't matter. We're going to recreate them real quick. Effect type, trigger, I said. There was something else just before. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. Trigger, and the other one were targeting. I saved, compiled. Watched entity, the owner, it's always active. Custom trigger, no, it's not that. Watched entity, custom. We don't have the custom trigger because it's not referenced as well. So it's not loaded. So we're going to open up utils once more. U-ability condition. U-custom ability effect. U-custom scaling. U-custom consumption rules. Oh, condition ability scaling. Did I put that twice? Custom ability effects, consumption rules, targeting method, and finally trigger, like this. Custom trigger, watched entity condition. We're gonna have an ability condition here and a bunch of stats for that trigger. Trigger chance and range. Yep. And maybe we're gonna have to do something for the ability and the stat trigger. We'll see. Yeah, we will have to. We might as well do it right now. Let's create a new structure called FStatTrigger. eStat watched stat at threshold. We're gonna have a modifier type because we can specify both. So we are watching, for instance, when you reach 50% of your health. So that's when they go below. But maybe we wanna check when they go up, when they feel it, maybe. I wonder if we need something like FStatTrigger type, which is gonna be go below, goes below, reaches. It's the same thing. I mean, goes below, it can only trigger one way around. If I go up, it won't trigger again. Yeah, maybe we need goes up. And maybe we're gonna have reaches max. And is empty, I guess. And the stat trigger is gonna use a stat trigger trigger type. Goes below 50% health. That's neat, no? Don't you think? Goes above, should be above. Sorry for my English. It might have been cringe. Reaches max. Is max, is empty. Gonna be way better. Goes below, goes above, is max, is empty. So goes below 50% health. It's gonna be our base stat trigger. We're gonna add this here, stat trigger. And we're also gonna add that to our utils function. Stat trigger. Yep. And so for the stat trigger type, maybe no, we didn't add it. Trigger, we added them. So what does the trigger say? Stat trigger. And for the ability, we'll see later because it depends on how we want to categorize abilities. So we'll see how we do that. So we can close that. And that now we have an event trigger, which has a trigger, obviously. It can have a bunch of events. And there are going to be ability events. It's going to have a bunch of stat modifier. I mean, it can have a bunch of stat modifiers. And it's going to have a bunch of ability stats, noticeably tick amount and tick rate. So these are going to be stats, and stat modifiers are we just going to call modifiers. So the event trigger looks quite okay. Save all, it's all fine. But what if we check out our utils? We still have some things like the ability row, which is empty. The attack ability, the cast ability trigger. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that one. It's gonna have a trigger, an ability row. So we're going to need to do that. The ability row, we're gonna open that up. And this is just going to take a data table entry and a data table row. Oh yeah, so just that. So actually it could be, yeah, I don't think we need that maybe. Well, if we don't do this, oh well, yeah, we can find a way around it. We don't need that. We're gonna get rid of this. Ability row. Oh, we crashed once more. That's quite unfortunate. I think we're gonna crash. For as long as we modified this, we're gonna crash. Activability error. What is the issue with activability? If we close that and reopen that. Honestly, it's kind of scary, all these errors. It makes me wonder if we can really do that in Blueprint. I've always encountered issues, but never that much. New local var6 structure f activability. Well, we're just gonna delete that and put that here. And we wanted to delete this, that one I meant. Ability row. Oh, it's the force delete. What if we open utils now? Are we gonna crash once more? We're compiling. If we close this and open that up once more. I know it's kind of long and maybe tedious, but we're actually setting quite a lot of stuff here. So we don't have errors here. I think I'm happy not to have any errors here. Okay, that's fine. So the cast ability trigger, we were saying it has a trigger, it has a data table row handle, which is going to take the activability by default. Cooldown and cost, these are going to be stats. Cooldown, cost, yep. Trigger, target ability, and stats. Close that. It means we might be able to set up this now. Ability base, we want base ability, then we want event trigger, we want a bunch of them, and then we want a cast ability trigger, or maybe we want several of them actually. I'm wondering right now. Can one ability trigger several? Yeah. Well, why not open the? We'll see if we can't. Display. Oh no, I think we called that base if I'm not mistaken. Not here. I meant here. Yeah, base. Event triggers and target abilities and ability triggers like this. And one of the final, I think, we're gonna have base ability here. I don't even think we need that. Yeah, we don't need that. So we're gonna have ability stats to start off with. We're gonna have a bunch of them. We want damage here, but we don't have this. I think we do want, maybe it's value that we're going to use. Yeah, value, I think. We're going to use value for now. Yeah, we don't have attack speed here. Oh yeah, but it's actually cooldown that we need. It's the same thing. Range. Projectile. Oh yeah, it's not stat. Speed. Radius. Tick amount. Tick rate. Where did it add? Where did it add the last one I added? Value cooldown, range, speed, radius, tick amount, tick rate. And that's it actually. So we're going to get rid of these, of the last one here. So these are the stats of the attack ability. Then we have the projectile type, but we don't have yeah, I think we'll need a projectile structure and data table. Maybe we will need, or maybe we don't. For now, we'll just create a structure called F projectile, and that structure is just going to contain a static mesh to use as a projectile and maybe a transform mesh and relative transform, or just transform like this. So this is going to be a projectile. And maybe we'll need this for the abilities as well. Yeah, we'll need that for the ability as well, for the targeting system. Ability targeting in here. We're gonna need the projectile here in case we have one. And do we have juice here? We should have juice in the ability targeting. Oh no, because yeah, but the projectile, it needs juice. This needs juice. Yep. And we crashed. We'll do it the hard way. We don't care. Juice. We're going to open up utils. Maybe we're going to crash once more. Here we want a projectile. So what else do we want? Additional events. Or maybe we just want additional effects. Do we want other events to happen? Yeah, well, maybe we do. Additional events. Yeah, we're gonna have additional on its effects. And we're gonna have additional events. Of course, we're gonna have juice for the attack itself. And we can plug juice here, but we cannot plug juice. Yeah, we need a cast juice, and we need a eat juice, and we maybe need detection juice at some time. Acquisition rules. Yeah, that seems correct. This seems like an attack. So if we're opening up utils, we're gonna check that everything is set up here. Yeah, these are enums. Yeah, these are that. I'm in classes, so it's loaded anyway now. Okay, if we go to data activability, we create a new active ability. I don't know, rain of fire. Okay, so this is rain of fire. Rains down 3 waves, each dealing damage. Requirements. Oh, we cannot say we need 2 in orcs and 3 in elf, for instance. So we need to modify this. This is an array of that, but we don't need that. So we need a F requirement. Yeah, it doesn't exist requirement for now. We'll just create this. Oh, in the system, I think, because in here we create tag. We're gonna have in here F tag requirement, which is going to be a tag and an integer. Tag amount. You need 2 in orc. You need 2 in orc. So we need to modify, and we might crash once more, but it doesn't matter. Tag requirements. We didn't crash, but we might crash now. Okay. If we head back to our activability requirements, we need, yeah, it needs 2 in orc here, for instance. No, 2 in sorcery. It has an ability, it has an animation. How does it chooses where to use that? Okay. Prevents moving, yes. Move to target, no. It's gonna cast it no matter what. Trigger. When does that trigger? When I just want to say when my mana is max. I think we can call that. We can have another trigger here, which is on ability ready. On ability ready. It triggers when my ability is ready. I'm watching myself. There is no conditions. Trigger chance 100%. Sure. Range, I don't care about range here. For the trigger itself. Stat trigger, we don't care about stat trigger. Oh, maybe this can be an array, so we can just, yeah, this is gonna be an array. And that even means that we can trigger that from several stats. Maybe we won't do that actually. Well, it won't change. It will be hard to set up anyway, no matter what we do on that side. The trigger, I mean, the trigger is going to be one of the hardest thing to set up. So we don't have any stat trigger. Yeah, maybe we can just get rid of onstat update here. If we just add a stat trigger, it's going to add it to the, for now we don't care. Stats. So what stat do we have here? The cost of that ability is 10, for instance, example, the cooldown is 3, yeah. The range, at which range can I cast that ability? In here, either we're using meters or we're using squares. I think we're gonna try to use squares. So 4 square, it can cast from 4 square away. The duration, for how long is that animation lasting? 1.2 for example. Speed reduction, I cannot move anyway, so I don't even need that stat. Cast juice. So what FX spawn when I'm starting to use that ability? I mean, when the unit starts to use that ability. Or maybe cast juice should be an array here, where we can specify if we want to spawn an FX on the owner and the target actor and the target location and the camera. Yes, so maybe is this in activability itself? Yeah. Cast juice, we want this to be an array. Yep, I can add some juice. And then what does it say? What does the rain of fire do? It says at 0.5 targeting. It's gonna, do we have stats here? Yeah. So in a sphere, the origin is going to be the target location. Direction, we don't have any direction. Custom method, we don't have, is going to target alive enemies. We don't have any condition, we don't have any random. Progressive effects, it won't be enabled for now. Stats, what stats do we have here? Tick amount, how many times we said it was going to tick 3 times. Tick amount 3. Tick rate every 1 second. 1.5, target max 0, range so that's the range. We don't have any range here. The radius of the sphere is 3 tiles, 2 tiles. 1 2 1 2. Range 2 tiles. Yeah, okay. Speed, we don't have any speed. Projectile, we don't have any projectiles. And what does these waves do? They deal damage. How much damage do they deal? We'll say, how much did we say? 50, 100, 150. Whoops. So I added other stats, but I didn't wanted that. Yeah, I don't want that. I want to add that like this. So this means that the ability deals 50, 100, 150 damage, depending on the ability level. All abilities are going to start level 1 by default. Transform, offset, we don't have any. Juice in here, if we add, not in here. The cast juice. Where is the cast juice? The targeting juice, I mean. We don't have any targeting juice. Why don't we? Yeah, we should. In here, we should have juice in the targeting. Yeah, in here we have the cast juice, but we shouldn't have it. Yeah, we can have that. And then we can have that. Yeah, this shouldn't be here. Or, I mean, this is the same thing. But when we target, do we want a juice? We don't really want a juice. Well, yeah, this, I think this should be in targeting. So we'll update that. It might completely erase what we've just done. That's why you shouldn't create many abilities for now, because we're going to modify these a lot and they're going to break all the time. So we're going to open up event and targeting. In targeting, we're going to have multiple juice enabled. And in event, we're not going to have juice. Yep, we crashed. That was expected. So if we open up what we've just done, did it keep the issue? Cast juice, activability, cast juice, yeah. Trigger, not at all. Event, yeah, we don't have this. Targeting, do we have juice here? Yeah, we do. Activability, events, effects, did it keep what we had here? Damage, stats, yeah, seems like it kept what we've done. So if we had a rain of fire particle system, we will put that in juice here, which will be target location, spawn fire effect with the sound, not attached, camera check for boss player, and this one, for instance. Yeah, honestly, this sounds quite sexy right now. We didn't treat it what we wanted for the statues, but it's already a long video. We're just going to check that the passive ability, we're going to pause that video. So hope you guys enjoyed that one and hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.